Hi, we are delighted to have with us today Oliver Gierlichs, who is a country manager at Bayer here in Ukraine. Oliver, it is great to see you. How are you doing?
Thanks, Andy. Very nice to meet you too. I'm fine, thanks.
Well, Oliver, you just arrived literally 4 weeks ago in Ukraine, so right in the midst of this pandemic.
Correct.
Tell us, I mean, how are you doing, and how is Bayer doing both globally, and what has changed over the last 6 months?
Yeah, you're right. It's just 4 weeks that I'm here. Before that, I have been in Western Central Africa. Bayer globally, we are one of the branches that is doing rather fine. So we are getting fairly well through the pandemic because whatever we do on the healthcare side and also on the ag side is something that is needed during this pandemic. So we are lucky in that sense. But of course, we are also affected because in many countries, people fear to go to hospitals for their treatments, and that's what we also see as an impact. Bayer globally has played an important role to fight the pandemic. We have set up a fund of more than 20 million euro to help countries and to relieve the situation. We have also given out medicines. We have given materials like gloves and masks in various countries and respirators. So Bayer has played a role on the front line to fight the pandemic.
Brilliant. Okay. And in terms of ways of working, I mean, what have you seen the biggest changes over the last 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, we have seen everywhere in the world that all of a sudden we had to switch from presence to home office in basically every country. In some countries more, in others less. So again, speaking about my experience from West Central Africa, which was most of my period now, we had different legislations depending on the countries, like Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Senegal. So in some we had a complete lockdown, and only few people had special exemption to get medicines imported to go to the office. In some other countries, we had rather voluntary home office, but basically it was everywhere the same, that we had to switch very quickly and avoid business disruption. um, the technology at Bayer was already quite well advanced. This had certainly speed up to go further here, and we had to adapt and be creative in terms of how to lead our teams.
So that's super. But Oliver, what happens after COVID? What will the new reality be in which we live?
I think there will be two major trends that we can see already today. One is home office versus office. Um, we have learned that it is not necessary to have every person in the office every day, which will add to the work-life balance that we have, allow for a better adaptability of young families, for example, that take care of their children, people that work that live quite far away from work, that don't have to commute every day, so they save a lot of time, they save money, it reduces CO2 emissions. So that is one. The other one is business travel. Um, we are a multinational company, and we have seen, especially in certain regions, that we have a high volume of business travel. And we have now learned that not every message needs to be delivered in person, but that you can do much more over Zoom and other means. And that again will reduce travel time so we can focus on essential tasks. It will reduce again emissions, and it is also a cost factor.
Brilliant. So, in terms of the change, I think we've seen a massive change, a disruptor, and it's changed, the way we work and the skills people need. So, what are the new skills that both leaders and employees across the world will really, need to focus on now?
I think it's skills that were becoming more and more important already, but the pandemic is an accelerator to that. So, of course, first of all, it's to be mentioned the adaptability and flexibility that we need. And you have seen that some people react much easier on working from remote places than others. Certainly technology know-how that becomes more and more important in the future. Just to mention a couple of them: artificial intelligence, big data, Internet of Things, virtual and augmented reality in some areas, robotic. So there are lots of things that we will encounter in future. The way how we conduct business with our customers, how we contact them, all these kind of things. Creativity and innovation that comes from people more and more, and not only from R&D centers, but the way we work in everyday life, from in every area, also in platform functions, in administrative functions. Data competency, digital competency will become more and more important. I think if you don't have the chance to exchange so frequently, maybe on a personal note with your colleagues, also critical thinking. What is fake news you're just receiving? What is not important? What do you need to sort out, and what is priority? And yeah, I mentioned before, emotional intelligence and leadership qualities, how to lead people by distance. And this is, for example, where we had some advantages already in the region where I was before, because it spanned from countries like Senegal in the north to Cameroon, which is an 8-hour flight. So if you have people in all these countries, you already know how to lead people by distance. And I think this becomes more and more important also when you are in Kiev city, for example.
Okay, brilliant. So this series of videos that we're doing, it's about leadership in times of crisis. What is leadership in times of crisis?
Yeah, it's multiple aspects that you have to take into account. First of all, of course, your team. I think so many companies say that your biggest capital is your staff, your employees, and that is certainly true more even than in the past in these terms or times of crisis. So you need to have this loyalty. You have to have trust in your people. That they are capable in doing their job, self-organized with a lot of self-discipline. You have to change your communication. You have to increase your communication to be very meaningful. Some people suffer from working from home or remote. So they have to have this feeling that they belong to a team, that they belong to a company, that they do a meaningful job. So these are certainly elements which are very important. So the trust you give to people, the integrity, emotional intelligence, empathy to understand their situation, to relieve as much as you can, and to respond to that with a sometimes an overarching communication of what the company is doing, why we are doing that, even in these circumstances, and on the other one, individually to people that suffer more than others from it.
Brilliant. Yeah. And then finally, what would your message be to the members of the American Chamber of Commerce here in Ukraine?
Oh, I'm very much looking forward to cooperate with you and to work with you together, and to add my piece to further improve conditions to do business in Ukraine, to add to transparency and good business conduct.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Oliver. Welcome to Ukraine. We look forward to working together over many, many years. You know, all the good things that Bayard have been doing, supporting all the members and making Ukraine, you know, a better place where to do business. So thank you. Thank you to all your team. Thank you for the leadership. So thank you, Oliver Gierlich, country manager at Bayard Ukraine. Stay healthy, stay safe, and see you soon.
Thank you, Andy. Have a nice day.